All right, are we live?
Are we live?
All right, very good.
All right.
All right, this is Bill and Teona. We whine about the region. It's government and the politics behind it, nonprofit and the people behind it, and business and the money behind it. Let's go.
We want to thank you for tuning in to hear Bill and Teona whine about the region. You can find us on Facebook. It's a live podcast, and you can find us online at btwinery.com. We'll be doing a podcast every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks.
Featuring people around St. Louis and Missouri politics, nonprofit, and business. Our first guest of our show, we have former House Representative, former State Senator, and former St. Louis County Board of Election Director, Rita Days.
Rita,
Come on, girl. Get on in here. Then we just don't act like we sitting at your kitchen table today.
Okay, all right,
We just sitting at your kitchen table. Before we get started, would you,
Let's
Bill,
go ahead, bring
do
it
the honors? We got the.
Bring it on.
We're gonna keep it simple.
Bring it
Keep it simple? Okay.
Bring it on.
All right.
But we figured it's be a good way to just kind of loosen people up just a little bit. Just relax.
Thank you.
Before we
Very
get
informal.
going, why don't we talk a little bit about how it came about this? Like, I threw something out there and said, oh, we should talk about, educating people about things they don't know as far as politics. A lot of people, they're on Facebook, they're always looking at their pages and stuff, but they don't know we're going into 2020 and people need to know we need to go to the polls, we need to get no more Trump, hopefully, and all that. So that's all I threw out. Next thing you know.
Well, she came to me. We were at a campaign event for a candidate probably in April or something, and she like, we should do a podcast, and I'm like, what you talking about?
Well, that's good.
What are you talking
I don't know
about?
what that either.
Then I was like, well, okay, let's give it a shot.
Next week or so, he had the name, everything. Like, he thought of the name, he thought of the content of it, and yeah, so here we are.
Well, this is great. Technology is, moving us in a new direction.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to keep up. It's hard because by the time I learn something new is out, but it's really good to have people who know that and, can maneuver and manipulate this like it's supposed to be done. So
Okay. Well,
I'm really glad to be here, for the inaugural podcast.
Yeah, we're glad to have you.
We are.
Thank you.
It's,
All right.
it's just fit. It seemed like what you are doing these days is just great to have you to be our first.
Well, let's jump right into it. You've been active in politics in this region for a long time. What really got you into it in the first place?
Well, actually, starting even with the children, as a stay-at-home mom, and getting involved in the schools, getting involved in their activities, and that led me to the Normandy School Board. And so I ran for the school board. Had not run for any public office before, but it was because of the school district. It was because of needs that I saw that I could possibly help with the school district. And so we had a group of folks from the quote Mothers Club at the kids' elementary school.
All right.
And they said, well, why don't you run, for the school board? Well, at the time it was very interesting because no one on the school board had children in the schools. And so it's very difficult to figure out the needs of the children and what's going on without having someone that's intimately involved in that. And so I did, and I ran for the school board and actually beat an incumbent.
Did you really?
I couldn't believe that. Look, that was at the time when, money was not the main issue it is now.
Yeah.
I think I raised $150.
What? Your first
Big spender.
I was a big spender. We had 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper. We cut it into 3 parts. That was with a flyer. So yeah. But politics has come a long way in terms of fundraising and needing a lot of money to do these kinds of things, and that's not always necessary. But in this day and age, it's a factor.
Well, let me ask you this. After you left the state legislature, you jumped out of the frying pan into the fire of county government. Tell us what happened.
I was the director of elections, the Democratic director of elections for St. Louis County. Actually, I had an offer to work with the county executive, Charlie Dooley, at the time, and he said, well, when you leave, you have to have a job, and so I'm willing to offer you a position. And but that was not the position, because the county executive doesn't actually hire that person. That person is hired actually by the governor. And so the governor came to me, Governor Nixon at the time came to me, he said, you know, we really have some challenges, let's put it like that, challenges at the Board of Elections in St. Louis County, and I'd really like for you to go and work there. And so it was disappointing to Charlie, but I said I had been involved in elections in the House and involved in elections in the Senate as well, and so it seemed like a natural fit that I would move on to do that kind of work. So I went there, and I worked very hard at the Board of Elections. It was a very antiquated system that they had working there. They did not have satellite locations. They did not have poll books. Some of the kinds of things that, you know, as we talked about technology, you know, moving ahead, moving a place ahead.
Yeah, I know they were looking at some of those
They
things.
were absolutely.
Some of those things just never got put in place.
They never got put in place. And so when I got there, we had lengthy lines when it came to absentee voting, and people were standing in the rain and this kind of thing. And I said, that doesn't make any sense. The seniors, basically, because, you know, they didn't want to come out on election day, and they came in. So we instituted a satellite location for our absentee voting, and I still see where that is still in place now. We also got poll books. We had a bid out for poll books right before I left, and they instituted those later on. That did not happen, but all the legwork was done under my administration, and so after I left, they continued and they instituted poll books. So I understand they're working very well now.
Okay. Well, I understand that just remembering sort of that time period when you did leave the elections board, there was a little bit of controversy about the way you left. I mean, is there anything you want to
Well,
say?
it was not a ceremonial kind of thing. It was not a way I would have preferred to leave, but the county executive at that time was Steve Stanger, and he wanted someone else in that position. So he convinced the board that I did work for a board there. He convinced the board that they wanted his person, and they moved forward with that. So interestingly enough, I went on. I think I left on a Friday, and on Monday I had a new job, so I was okay.
Which is gangster.
That's just a straight boss.
I was okay, and it's about a job that I really, really love. I am working with the Missouri Housing Development Commission now, and wonderful work. So I think, you know, your steps are ordered. And it's time for me to move on to something different, and that happened.
Well, we definitely give you credit where credit is due, and you know, just going a little bit off the script here, that's really boss that you left on a Friday and was working on a Monday.
Not everybody can do that.
So tell our viewers what you've been doing since the Board of Elections.
Well, as I said, I'm with the Missouri Housing Development Commission, and we provide tax credits to developers who want to build or renovate affordable housing. And so we do affordable housing for children aging out of foster care, for victims of domestic violence, for seniors, veterans, for families. We run the gamut of what we try to encourage the developers to build. And so far it's been going very, very well. I am actually the community liaison. So if there's a community that has some questions or issues about some of the affordable housing, how to go about it a little bit, you know, I come in and I can answer those questions for them. So it's really good work. I really love it. We don't have enough affordable housing in this state. This is a statewide position. I generally handle the eastern part of the state, and we have some other people that handle the western part because our main office is in Kansas City. But it's really, really wonderful work, and we just need more and more affordable housing for people. You know, the issue in Wellston's going to have to do something with their affordable housing.
Yeah,
it's not good over there, and I know people are saying, well, you know, we need to keep those people there. Well, you need to go over and visit, and you will see the deplorable situation that is there now, and no one should have to live like that.
Absolutely
They should not have to live like that.
Especially in public housing.
Absolutely, public housing should be the best. It should be the best, and so we're working on it. We're working, trying to make it happen. So.
Okay. Well, what I've noticed is it looks like you're trying to jump back into the fire of politics.
Can you believe that?
So we gonna go there. So the first district council seat for St. Louis County obviously has been vacated by the honorable, incredible Hazel
Fantastic.
Irby.
Yes.
And she's going on to do some better things now. And that seat's open. And it looks like you're in the running for that seat. Obviously we've been dealing with Ferguson and all kinds of stuff. Like, what do you think? Why are you interested in getting back into that space of representing folks in your community? And what do you think you can bring to that office?
Well, first of all, it was a surprise because I did not know that Hazel was, be vacating the seat. We had supported Hazel for years, and we want to move right along with Hazel. That was just fine with me. And then she decided that she wanted to go and do something else. And so that left, but it was a very quick decision that she made. And she had been on the council for several years, and I think had done really, really good work.
Me too.
And so when she did that, she said, I really, really would like for you to take my seat. And I said, well, Hazel, I'm at a job that I really, really love right now. And but again, it goes back to, I guess, my mantra in politics, and it has been service all along, service from the school board, service from the legislature, service in the Board of Elections. And so if I see an opportunity that I can serve the citizens of St. Louis County, that's really what I want to do. She's started a lot of initiatives. We have a Project Homeless Connect. This is the second year that we've done that.
I saw that pop up. Okay.
Absolutely. And that came about. She called me one day and said, I was thinking about what can we do for our homeless population. And so I said, well, do you know that the MHDC has a Project Homeless Connect? It's statewide. We do this. And she said, I had no idea. And so we got together. We put our heads together. We got a committee together, and just pulled that event together. We had it at UMSL.
When was that?
University of Missouri, St. Louis.
But when was that?
It was June 6th, I believe. That's the Thursday. That was a Thursday.
Like a few weeks ago.
Right, a few weeks ago. Yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
so you and Rita were working on this together.
Yes.
I'm sorry, you and
this and this year, and then the last year was a week before Memorial Day.
Yeah, I saw
and
that.
it was just wonderful. And what we find is that folks don't have transportation or the knowledge to go from place to place looking for resources. And so we brought all the resources to one place, UMSL. They were gracious enough to let us use the JCPenney building and the Summit Lounge. And so we had all these vendors that came together. If you were interested in housing and birth certificates and registering to vote, we had health testing, HIV testing. It was just, we had haircuts. It was just everything that you could possibly need. If you were in service. It's called Project Homeless Connect, but there are some people who are housed that need these kinds of services as well. And so we put this together, and it was just an awesome event. And so she said, well, we'll see you next year. So I said, I guess I'm on the hook for this forever now. but it was just a wonderful event. And we hope to continue, to do that year after year. But each year you find different core people. We even had a room for the children in case mom and dad needed to go and they needed to take care of business. We had a room for our children that they could go and watch movies, play games or whatever. And then when mom and dad were completed with their work, they come back and pick them up. Don't leave them here. No. Come back and get your children and take them home with you. But it was a fantastic event. So Hazel and I have been working quite well together.
Be next, I think. Probably. So I understand that there is a nomination process, and can you elaborate and tell us a little bit about the process?
Well, it comes down to the committee people in the first county council district. They will come together and they will meet, and we'll go and talk about what we want to do with the seat and why we should be the candidate for that, and that is how that will be selected for the primary in August. It's
How you
running a
feeling
little.
about it?
I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah, are you getting support from the
I'm
community?
getting a lot of support.
I really want you to
have,
get it.
Well, I'm really hoping that the committee people will see that I'm serious about this. It's not about me.
Right.
It's about what can happen in this first county council district, and we know the kinds of municipalities that are involved in the first county
Yeah,
council
it is
district,
gonna be.
and they need help and support, and whatever it is that I can do to do that. Again, it goes back to service. That's been, again, my mantra for all of my political career. It's how can I best serve the constituents?
All right, Bill, you know, I'm trying to keep up with
So,
this
yeah.
here. All right.
Keep it
Well, you know,
I'm
since
keeping
this
it
is
moving, but
the
I asked the
inaugural-
last question, and so you were supposed to ask the question now, correct? I don't care that we're live. We still gonna be live the way we are always
That's
live.
Well,
Your
I
turn,
highlighted them.
Bill.
Okay,
Just
okay.
Are you finding support? Are you finding
Absolutely,
support from the
absolutely, I'm
community?
finding support. Well, you know what, this is just like you're sitting at my kitchen table.
Well, that's what
This is
it's
the way
supposed to
we
be
do this
like.
all the time. Come on, Bill, I asked that question.
Right.
Right,
What is that?
right.
Ask the question already.
Okay, since it's my turn,
All right,
here we
okay.
go. Where is the former county councilwoman Hazel Irby in this? Is she supporting you?
She is supporting me 100%. Absolutely. She has made telephone calls for me, and and again, it's to the committee people, encouraging them to support me. This is her choice, and so she really has been there for me all the steps.
Okay. All right. Well, looks like there's at least 2 other contenders for that seat, folks that are interested in that council seat. And we read in the Post-Dispatch a few days ago that there was some back and forth with some emails and various things. Like, where are we in the process, and when does the committee, the Central Committee, make its decision?
Okay, well, I have received the information from the chair of the Central Committee that they will be meeting on Thursday.
This coming Thursday?
This coming Thursday.
Okay, that's June 20th.
June 20th.
Woo.
My sister's birthday.
That's
So I
gotta
hope
be
that's
good
a good
luck.
omen.
That's gotta be
I
good
hope that's a good
luck.
omen.
Let's toast to that.
So,
Yes, let's
toast to that.
definitely
We're gonna
toast.
toast to that. How about that?
Yes.
All right.
Well, Woody, would you, before we close out with you, Senator, what would you like the viewers to know just about you and how you're going forth, with it, whether you're the nomination, you get the nomination or not, like, just something you want, like, I know you and I know how you are, but, you're not on social media a whole lot or anything like that, so,
That's
with that
the
being
joke of the
I
year.
know.
Don't you do Facebook? No, I don't do Facebook, but anyway.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, for everybody there's people probably just tuned in like, wow, she's gonna be on Facebook. Okay, let's hear this. So what would you like those people to know about you and know about basically what you're gonna bring to the table?
Well, again, my goal is to provide service to the citizens, constituents of the first county council district. What services they need, be open to communication, be there when they need me there. That would be my job. It's not about me. I've been through all of these. It's not about, what I gain from this. I don't even really know how much they make, if you really want to know the truth about it. But you know what? Well, you know what? But I did that with the state rep district,
Yeah.
and my daughter came home and she said, "Mom, you're going to be making $150,000." I nearly fell out my chair for the state, and I said, "Where did you get that from?" And she said, "Oh, that's what they said at school." And so I said, "Okay, well, let me go back and check it. I don't think that's
I don't
right.
think that's correct.
It's nowhere near
Yeah,
that."
that's
funny.
So, but again, that's not what I'm there for. It is not for a check. It's I'm okay, where I am now, and but again, rendering the kind of service that's needed in the first county council district. That's what I want to do. I've been serving the community. I've lived here for over 45 years in the same house, in the same community. I have a sense of what's needed here, and that's what I want to deliver.
All right, that sounds really good.
Well,
And we can kind of elaborate, I guess, while we're waiting on our next guest. Yeah, I think she kind of went to professional or whatever. So we will just, but she'll be back.
Okay.
So we will elaborate. Do you want to talk about how you know the senator? I can talk about how I know her, or while we're
Well,
kind
If
of
it's
buying
good.
time.
Only if it's good.
Mine is good. I don't know about Bill, but mine is good.
no,
You
no,
go
no.
first.
Here's the thing. I wasn't following a whole lot of politics like in my early years, but I remember I told you the story where I was actually thinking about running against you for the Senate seat,
And I said, ooh,
which would have been
not
the
a good
dumbest
idea.
thing I could have done. But this is before I knew you. But yeah, I met the senator. We got close while I was working on Charlie Dooley's reelection campaign in 2010. So that's how we became familiar. She was checking in on me, making sure I wasn't gonna mess it up.
Oh yeah, she will check in on you, won't
So-
she? She will check in.
And since that, we've been rocking.
All right, and I met her by working with an attorney named Timothy Higgins. So when I got involved into politics, he said the first thing that I wanted to do was send her a letter and introduce myself to her. And I was like, first of all, I'm trying to figure out, okay, what is he talking about? But he had been in a race with her and Esther Haywood, and so he got out because his mother had got sick, and then he threw his support behind her. So he was like, if you want to be successful at what you're doing, you need to meet her, you need to send her a letter.
That's
and
right.
I'll tell you, I sent her a letter, and it's been one of the best letters that I've probably ever sent in my life. Because she's been right there. I mean, my sister knows her, my family, like literally, she's present, and she'll come and sit at your baby shower. It was like, I had this friend that they were like, wow, she's up here, but she's sitting here, coming over to the house for game night, my kids, all of that. So that's something that I
But you
take
can
away
be
from
demanding
it.
anyway. So that's
What? So, you know what? There you go. You know what? That's why I didn't want to drink wine on the show. But since we are, and that's what
You
we're
see, I haven't had mine. I haven't had mine. I'm going to make sure that it stays over here.
Well, I want to say we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
And we
Thank
thank
you.
you for coming to being the first.
Well, I am honored to be, part of the very first podcast. I think I said to my son, I said, is this like the God Friended Me account? Have y'all ever watched that on Channel 4? He has a podcast, it's called God Friended Me. And I said, is this the same thing? He said, I don't know, Mom. There are different kinds of podcasts.
Yeah,
So I said, well, okay, I'm game. I'm open to this new and exciting things. So,
See,
all right.
I'm gonna say one thing. I know anybody that's watching probably has seen us do this.
Oh, yeah. We
There's
got
there's a
student
merciless fly that won't go away.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he want to come to the party too, so I guess we don't just
Well,
let the
he
flower.
won't come to this party.
All
But thank
right.
you
Thank you
so
so
much
much.
for this, and I really appreciate it. All right. Good luck
So
to you
our
both.
next guest, Bill, it's your turn.
Our next guest, we have 2020 candidate for Missouri's first congressional district,
Okay. Woo!
the wonderfully talented Cori Bush.
How they do All right.
All right, well, congratulations on your kickoff. That was today.
Thank you.
I
Today.
understand.
Yes, it was today.
All
We
right,
had
how
such
does
a
it
great
feel?
time. Oh my gosh.
How does it feel?
Just ready to get going. It was just like we needed to get through this to get to the next step. So the people were excited. The energy was
filled.
amazing.
Oh my God.
People walking in off the street, just seeing the signs, and it's just
Wonderful.
Yeah, I'd like to talk a little bit about it because I was here for a kickoff and just say how amazing it is that she's in the community, helping the community, because she had a sign just out there, come on in and get hot dogs and chips, whatever you want. And there were literally moms, I almost wish I had my camera out to kind of record it if she ever do a video, that were walking in with their kids. You could kind of tell that could possibly be their only
That
meal
might have
for the
been their
day.
only meal.
And so for her to just open the door saying, come in, she don't know, that might, whether they vote for her or not, she's about the community. So I just wanted to kind of throw that out there today.
All right. Well, you've been making waves in local politics for the last few years. Tell our viewers a little bit about yourself, your background, just fill people in on who you are. Who's Cori
sure.
Bush?
So I am the product of of what my father made.
Here we go. And your father's name,
My
please.
father is Earl Bush.
Okay.
He's alderman in the city of Northwoods.
Okay.
And he used to be mayor right after Charlie Dooley went to county executive. So my dad was a very boots to the ground, type of person. Knock every door, talk to every person, shake every hand.
You have to.
You know.
You have to.
But as a kid, I ain't want to do that.
You know what?
My dad had me doing it. I started when I was literally 11 years old, knocking on
He told
doors,
me
and
that.
I've been doing it literally 30 years.
Yes.
Tell me that.
Yes.
Why don't you have your dad come on and join us?
Father. Father.
We didn't have to say hi, but this is your
She's talking about her dad on our show, so we just would like for you to come and say hi to
just
our
come and
viewers.
say
Maybe
hi.
would you join us? You might want to bring your chair. Or you
No,
might
don't
just
bring no
wanna
chair.
come-
This is just your show.
Here you go. Just say hello.
Just say hello.
You can come
Bring
right
your
next
head
to
in
me.
here and say
Yeah,
hello.
bring your head in. This is
This is my
Cori.
father.
yes, Happy Father's Day.
Thank you.
Happy Father's Day.
Yes.
That's why it's the big day. You
Good
get the
afternoon,
kick
Senator.
back.
Glad you're here this afternoon with us.
Yes, yes.
Mr. Ray.
All right.
We're excited to be here today.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, Cori, in 2016, you ran for U.S. Senate for the state of Missouri. You just gonna get. That was kind of rude. Bill.
That wasn't rude.
That was a little rude.
That was real.
If we're gonna do this, we're gonna do it right. Don't be rude.
That was real.
All right. And so, as a newcomer to elected politics, how did that come about? What inspired you to get in that race?
Right. So, what I didn't get to say in the last question, growing up under politics, I decided I'd never do it, just because I saw how much my father fought and how much the people, his friends, other elected officials fought, and all the things that they went through. But seeing how corruption was there, seeing how they were stabbed in the back just trying to help people, and I was like, why would you give yourself to something like that if if what you're getting in return is pain?
Right.
So I didn't understand it at the time. But seeds were sown, and then I ended up going into ministry. That was my road. I went into ministry, and
you're an ordained minister.
I'm an ordained pastor.
go.
Ordained pastor, and I didn't get it off the internet.
All right.
I went through. I went through the ranks. I went through the ranks.
I would know.
And it's no joke. It's no joke being a woman in ministry. And so, so anyway, so I went up through those ranks. And one thing about the church is so similar to politics. It's so similar. The dynamics are really similar. And so I went. So anyway, I did that, and then I ended up. We did a lot of church on the street. So my church, we only had the four walls just to come together on Sunday, but all of our work was on the street. So, and so when Michael Brown was murdered, I took that same thing to the street, and that's how I ended up being a part of the movement. Didn't try to. I just went out there as a clergy and as a nurse. I'm a registered nurse. I went out there to just help, and I ended up staying because I was just looking at the people like, these are folks, and they out here getting hurt, and it was just crazy. So I couldn't leave. And that's when I was asked to run for office the first time. I was asked to run for U.S. Senate because I had been traveling around the country. I had been doing things internationally on nonviolent conflict resolution. And anyway, so I just decided, someone asked me, I said no. But then the more I said no, the more yes rose up in me, and I decided to run. Yeah.
Well, I definitely call you like a self-made individual.
Yeah.
Like whenever I think of the word self-made, I kind of think of Cori Bush. What about you?
I agree. You came out of nowhere and you made a wonderful name for yourself, and I think the most important thing is to make sure that we're always, as public servants or people that are interested in service, we're always pushing the envelope.
Yeah,
We're
absolutely.
always holding those that are in office accountable.
Absolutely.
And one of the best ways to do that is to run against them.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's true. That is true.
So, all right. Well, let's go to the next question. Let's talk about the documentary.
Okay.
Knock Down the House on Netflix. On that documentary, which I got a chance to watch actually yesterday, you got Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who is a political newcomer.
Yes.
And she's not a rising star. She's basically a bona fide star
She is.
right now.
Qualified. That's for sure.
Well, and the Netflix documentary, it featured a number of newcomers, political newcomers like yourself, that ran against longtime incumbents.
Yes.
The documentary said that in 2018 there was a record number of women, people of color
Yes.
and political outsiders that ran against challenging establishment candidates. What has inspired you to run for the 1st Congressional District, especially considering that you're challenging basically a 50-year legacy in the Clay name?
Right. Yeah. So legacy doesn't bother me. I'm about leadership, not legacy. So I feel that the leadership has been lacking. And the thing is, what I learned during Ferguson taught me that I'm less afraid than what I would think that I would be afraid of. So standing up there in front of those tanks and those bullets, those shots, you know, firing at us all the time, and then just all the things that we witnessed or dealt with the police during that time, and with white supremacist groups, and just so much, all the stuff that I went through, you know, every death threat, every death attempt, just all the things that we like, it was real. It's still very real.
It's still real.
And so all of that, it taught me that, like, I don't have the fear that I thought that I had. It taught me, like, I can push boundaries, you know. And so when I was asked to run for this seat, of course I said no again, but then I started thinking about, I remember being pissed off at Congressman Lacy Clay, because thinking, you are my congressman. I'm out here every single day. We out here day and night fighting in these streets, people being beat. I'm seeing people hung upside down, hanging off of hogtied, hanging off of batons, didn't do anything but step off the curb. I'm seeing people beaten unconscious. I myself was physically assaulted. The police threw me up in the air. I remember seeing the stars as I was going, and then as I was coming back down, seeing the ground. And they stomped the crap out. I'll never forget it. All I was doing was helping somebody that what we thought was having a heart attack. They called the medic, which was me, and I got assaulted by the police for that. And so, but anyway, but just seeing that kind of thing, and just thinking about how different it would have been if somebody that actually has the opportunity to make change, you got an open door, you have what it takes to make the change. You're not here, you're not standing up for us. You should have been in between the police and the people. You should have been the one leading this thing, saying this is how I don't care if you don't have a background in it. None of us did. There was no playbook for Ferguson. We didn't know what to do. We showed up, and that's what made the difference. And so when I was asked, I was like, you know what? In order to have that change, in order to have somebody that's not about photo ops and grand openings to buildings, naming buildings, but have somebody that actually loves the community, that's willing to fight for the community, I put my life on the line for my community.
See the
And
passion
yes,
in your eyes just talking about it.
yeah, because it's, you know, and the thing is, I take it back to even stuff that I endured personally. Somebody who was a low-wage worker. I worked my butt off teaching in preschool for years, and couldn't even afford to send my children to the same preschool that I worked at. You know, we just, you know, the money, it just didn't make money, you know, and so stuff like that, you know, being homeless at one point, and just so much that I went through in my life, domestic assault, sexual assault. Who's fighting for those things? It's one thing. I'm not with just saying I support a bill. Anybody can do that. The freak, anybody can support a bill. What you fighting for? Because our people out there hurting every single day. So that's why when I was asked, because the other thing was, well, you know what, you're gonna support, you a black woman, you gonna run against a black man? Yep. If he ain't taking care of business, yep.
Let's talk about keeping it real. I'm talking about keeping it real.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, well, Lacy Clay basically has 100% name recognition. You ran unsuccessfully against him in 2018.
Yes.
Winning just under 37% of the vote in the primary. How do you plan to break through in 2020? Do you want to talk about that? Or?
Well, I'll say this. People didn't expect us to do as well as we did.
Yeah.
We got 53,000 votes. Better than anybody that has ever run against him before. Anybody.
Even
A congressman?
I was better than the rest of
Yeah, well,
Well, yes, congressman.
Really?
And
he only had 32%.
Yes.
I think he only had 32%.
Yes.
Hold the A. You
And so-
gonna hit the camera.
We live with our live.
So because of that, somebody with no name, no title, no money was able to do, and not only that, I was hit by a car on April 23rd, and I was on my back for 6 weeks, couldn't walk, you know, for the most part, and so we did all of that, and did as well as we did, and so because of that, I know that, and not only that, we ended up turning over our whole leadership at one point in the campaign too. So I got a whole new campaign team in February of 2018. So we did that well that way. So I know that if we are able to stick to the plan, we'll do so much better. And not only that, this time I won't be hit by a car.
Thank you, Jesus.
Thank you.
I'm sure that was depressing.
Yeah, it was really,
It took you off the trail.
It took me off.
It took you off the trail for a little bit, right?
It was really bad. But so not only that, but we get to do some things that we didn't get to do. People say that we didn't touch North City and North County. That's not true. We did. The issue, right? People say
I saw you all over.
Right. People say that we didn't, but we did. The problem is that once I was hit by that car, it's hard to get people to come out and want to canvass and outdoors, when the candidate is not able to.
Right.
So that was part of it. And then they were taking care of me. So, but anyway, so this time we out on those doors. We doing some other things that I won't talk about because I'm not giving away our campaign plan. But this is the thing.
Keep it close to the vest.
We starting off at 53,000. Let's just say that we starting off 53,000.
Coming out the gate, huh?
We coming out the gate like that, and we have this movie that's canvassing for me. This movie is canvassing for me, knocking doors for me. People, we are all over the world. We have people that are trying to help out and do things for us. And so hopefully more people in the district will see the movie and at least get to meet me, because one thing people seem to have this idea of, oh, well, that's that protester, like I'm this, this black identity extremist person, but the movie humanizes me. And so it helps. It gives you a little bit of an end to me. So with the movie, and then just with some other things that I'll be doing coming up.
And it's very relatable to just like young girls that
Absolutely.
you're kind of like, you probably have a lot of young girls that dream to even do what you're doing before you even win, something like that.
Yes.
So that's amazing to me.
I have so many fathers that are reaching out saying, I'm making my kids, my daughters are watching this, I'm making them, I want them to see what they can do.
That's amazing.
All right, well, obviously Ferguson and the issues surrounding it have put St. Louis on, on a world stage for all of the wrong reasons. Aside from the Stanley Cup, I think we're good at that.
No blues.
What are the issues that you're going to be focused on to make Missouri's first congressional district a better place for its residents?
So first of all, I'm all for Medicare for all.
Yes.
I'm for Medicare for all. Yes, I am. I'm for Medicare for all.
You gotta snap your fingers.
And I'm for it because as a registered nurse, I sit up day in and day out fighting for money for medication for patients. People that don't deserve to have to make the decision between paying their rent and having their medicine. Fighting for mental health resources, because why do we push this stigma on people that are suffering from mental illness when it's no different than somebody suffering from hypertension or suffering from diabetes, because it's treatable. But they just need medication, but they can't get medication if we can't get them stable or get them in, but then we get them in and nobody can pay for it. We ain't got the money, and so it's like I said, I'm not going to be one that'll just say, okay, I'm going to support that. No, I'm going to support it. We're going to do town halls about it, because the thing is, the community has to know that this is something that's good. Because that's one thing that we don't like. A lot of people have said, well, oh no, I don't want to do the Medicare for all thing, because they're looking at it because Bernie Sanders put it out. Forget who put it out. Right. What does it say? I could care less who put it out. Right. What does it say? It's taking care of you. And for me, as being a black mother, that I made my medical bills when I was when I was a teacher in early childhood were terrible, because we couldn't afford health insurance. The job couldn't afford the health insurance. So those are some things that I'll be fighting for immediately. Walking in the door, we need more money for mental health resources. We need more money for. We need to push Medicare for all. Make sure the community understands what Medicare for all is, and then use that influence to talk to these other Congress people, helping them to see, look, it's not about Bernie Sanders or any other political figure. This is about the people. And then also I'll be pushing education. This crap where different zip codes, the issue with this messed up gap.
Look at that. You
you're somebody in agreement.
Sorry, we gotta call you out right real quick.
To sit on it, it shouldn't be our tax dollars that's saying how much, because we already know we know right now in 10 years what that's gonna look like. We already know what zip codes in the next 10 years gonna have money for this and not have money for that. We know that right now. So somebody should be working to say, you know what, we not doing it like that no more. You know, or let's go find this money because we can find money for other stuff.
Yes.
If we can sit back with our hand over our mouth and allow our children to be in cages.
Yeah.
We got folk coming up with money for that. So if we can do that, we can come up with money. Hey, look, we gotta tell, you got to talk about it because every single day. Because I think, you know what? I think if somebody separated me from my children, if my children was in those camps, I would want somebody to speak up. And the thing is, I'm all for the people that's not being oppressed. The people that are not being oppressed, standing up and advocate for those that are. And so I'm not worried about deportation right now. Not yet anyway. I'm not worried about deportation. So I need to be speaking for those people that are. And so right now, I don't have children in school right now, but I understand how that cycle happens. We send our children to school, they hungry, they didn't get to eat, so they restless in class, the teacher puts them out, they out 2 or 3 times, now they get suspended, and we know that all that means is that they can possibly end up in that school to prison pipeline. And so if we're not doing something about it, why don't we do something about it? Because we don't have to. Me personally, I was a part of that, so I understand that totally, and I've seen it happen day in and day out. So that's something that I gotta fight for. But how do we do that? We gotta get money and put it into those zip codes that need it. We gotta make education equitable for all of our citizens. We cannot expect a great St. Louis. We can't, no matter what, because the thing is, you can live in a great part of St. Louis with all the big houses and all the money, but your kid gonna come up against somebody that's from a zip code has a food desert and vacant buildings. Right. We gonna end up together at some point. So why not do the work to make sure that everybody has what they need? Because the thing is, we're so afraid that somebody else is gonna be better than us. Bump that. Just make St. Louis great.
Yeah, no matter what it takes.
Yeah.
Well, tell our viewers some things that they should know about you. Why should they believe Cori Bush can lead the first congressional?
Yeah, why should we believe in Cori Bush?
Yeah.
First of all, because I'm that one.
I'm that one.
Without putting it out there like that. Boom.
Drop
the mic.
Well, I'm not afraid to not be popular, and that's how I've run. That's how my life has been for the last several years. Is even in ministry, it was just, this is what. Forget what you're telling me that I need to teach. It's not helping people. We gotta teach the word, teach the true word, teach the, and so in the same way, I feel like the only way to get help, because I feel like I wasn't getting help because nobody was standing up being loud. I got into that payday loan cycle, being a single parent, and
that's one of our sticklers over there.
And when they get you, they got you.
But and I feel like I didn't have to get there had there been if somebody that could make some difference would have been making a difference. I didn't have to go through that. And so in the same way, if I can take that, what I know, my personal experience, and apply that and do something with that, because one thing about it, folks that been through it are definitely great people to advocate for something, because they've been through it and they walked it. So that's one thing about me. I have a lot of life experience. No, I don't have any electoral experience, and I understand that. But I tell you what, I can learn how to read a bill because I can save your doggone life. I'm a great nurse. I can save your doggone life. I can help the doctor not kill you. So if I'm smart enough to do that, I'm great enough to be able to pick up a bill and understand it and be able to doggone decide yay or nay. And then the only one thing about it is women live in this dang district. 172 years is too long to decide that it's time that a woman can sit in this seat. That's a long time. We need a woman in this seat finally. And I'm not saying play identity politics. It's not about that. But I'm saying let's talk about facts. The fact is 172 years is a long time for us to feel like, okay, now a woman can sit in this seat. Also, there's just some of the things that I've been through. I feel like I'm just the best. I'm a great advocate. I'm better than the person that's seated. I'll say that much.
Okay.
To be able to speak up for the community, because I've done it and I do it for free.
Yeah.
See, that's the difference. I do it for free. I put my name, my reputation, I put my family, I put my life on the line to fight for the issues that will affect our community directly. Not only for us, but our legacy, our children's children. That's what I'm fighting for. I don't get paid $174,000 to do it. And so I feel like somebody that's getting paid, because one thing I don't do, I don't go around and ask people to say, oh, good, you did good today, you gave a shot. Freaking, I'm a nurse. That's what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah,
Don't,
that's
you know what the heck? Don't applaud me because I did my job.
Yeah.
Applaud me when I
like
go
what
above and
she
beyond
said.
it.
She said that to her crowd.
Yes, and so
Yes, I
and
love what she said
I
there.
truly believe that. And so when I'm doing other stuff, so I feel like what is our congressperson doing to better our community just on his own, just as a congressperson? Because I love St. Louis. The thing is, I grew up here. I was solely educated in St. Louis schools. I solely worked in first district jobs. I know this ground. I know what the people are going through. I'm out there walking with people that are unhoused. I've been unhoused myself. I'm out there walking at night with them. I'm out seeing what people need. I'm sitting with our undocumented immigrants in the hiding spaces. I'm doing that for free, just because I love. So what more can I do if I go somewhere and I'm getting paid and I got a little bit more resources and I got some influence
And you got a team.
and a team. We doing all of this work with volunteers. So what if I can pay folks?
That's all beautiful.
She brings the energy down. She
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I said. I just sat back. I was just like, well, I need to listen to this.
She makes you want to listen. She draws crowds, like all of that. So yeah.
She definitely gonna make me want to make sure I get to the polls, although I always do.
Oh, okay.
Well, how can people reach you? How can people support your campaign?
Absolutely. So, great thing, we got this campaign office, 3,500 square feet
We're in her
of
office. We want to thank you for
Yes.
letting us have our first show.
And it's just for organizing. We have stations. We got a postcard station, a phone banking station, a call time station, and another station I can't even remember at the moment. But you can just walk in 75 North Oaks Plaza on Natural Bridge at the corner of Lucas and Hunt. You can come in and just get involved. So that's one way. Also, you can follow me on Twitter at Cori Bush. It's the Good Bush. It's B-U-S-H, Cori Bush. The Good Bush.
Yeah,
Good Bush. The Good Bush.
She said
Because, you know.
her name has gotten her in a few.
Yeah, people say, I'll never vote for a Bush. I'm like, have you seen me? Like, what about my Bush don't you want? You know? But yeah, so I'm the Good Bush. I'm the Good Bush.
That was cute.
So at Cori Bush on Twitter, at Cori Bush on Facebook, and then the same thing on Instagram.
You're very approachable.
Yeah.
I like that. You know,
Yeah.
you're very approachable.
Yeah.
She's just like out there. You be like, what? She's running for Congress. And
Yeah.
She's just standing out there just talking to the people.
I just love people. I just love us. That's it. I just love us.
I like most of them.
Well, we want to wish you luck. We
Thank
want to
you.
wish you luck, and we appreciate you,
Thank you.
allowing us to do our first show here.
Yeah.
It'll always be a memory that no matter where we go with this
Yeah.
bill, we started right here.
Absolutely.
Yes.
We definitely appreciate it.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate being on here. Thank you so much for the invite. And shout out to Rita Day. Shout out to Rita Day.
Yes. Too strong. Let me just say, you are remarkable, Bill, that you sat here and you led these strong African American women. I mean, you got a lot going on right now that you're up against 3 strong women, and you did good. You did good for the first show.
Hey, I love my black women.
Well, that's good to
So
know.
we good to go.
That's
and y'all
good
don't
to-
scare me.
Okay.
Ooh. Okay. All right.
But absolutely, thanks for having us. This has been great. Just a few things. We want to thank our viewers for tuning in. We're going to continue to whine about the region because we care. And if you have some ideas on topics or people we should interview, please let us know. You can find us at btwinery.com. You can email us at btwinery@gmail.com. You can find us on Twitter at btwinerymo, and you can find us on Instagram at btwinery. So we look forward to our next episode, which will be in a couple of weeks.
And I would like to say we are the only solution to improve our own community. And I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in, and we will see you in 2 weeks.